SVG-TV News for Monday, March 3rd, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Primary schools in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be utilizing artificial intelligence teaching tools in their curriculum for the new school year as part of a pilot project by the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, under its Pearl project. Today, the OECS Pearl project team held an implementation and management mission in SVG where they further analyzed the digital learning hub. Chief Education Officer K. Martin Jack stated that 12 schools in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are participating in the pilot project, which began in January and will conclude at the end of 6 months.
So we have a number of schools who at this particular point in time are piloting this particular curriculum. All right. So over time, you know, with pilots, we have to evaluate, monitor to see where the gaps are, how persons are taking things on board. All right. So at the end of the pilot, we have to do the analysis in light of what would have come through in terms of that. So it's not that we're taking it hook, line, and sinker, because there would be need for remedy in some instances. All right, because we have to look how it is going to suit our situation as we go forward. So initially, we're into a pilot. As we'd say, we're trying it.
Senior Technical Specialist with the OECS, Roston Emmanuel, said that the pioneering learning hub is a significant milestone that will deliver quality education for primary schools. He noted that the inclusion of artificial intelligence was developed by individuals within the OECS, including 2 from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Emmanuel explained how teaching and learning could be made easier for primary school students through this innovative approach.
It's one system where Ministry of Education, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, everybody has the framework. Teachers will sign into it. Teachers will access student data, lesson plans, curriculum data. They can do the assessments. They have all of this thing in one place. It's really up to the schools and the ministries to decide whether we want to use this holistically or we just want to focus on accessing the curriculum from it. But just let me give you some context for that. Over the last 26 years, the OECS has been spending a significant amount of money in the development of a unified platform for learning. We have been unsuccessful, despite having spent over 80 million euro, because a lot of that funding came from the EU. Despite having spent that much money over 26 years, there is no unified platform. The goal is, and a beautiful side effect of this initiative is that we are getting there, and this is being, of course, developed by our local, our indigenous talent.
Emmanuel added that the Learning Hub could be further advanced if necessary. He emphasized that with the learning platform created by local experts, the initiative has been both cost-effective and capable of delivering a high-quality curriculum.
This is real, and of course, we are now turning heads because other multi-million-dollar companies are making comparisons and sending proposals to our OECS governments, you know, about what they can offer. And I keep telling the team, listen, as long as they're doing this, this is a good sign because they see us as a viable option for the OECS. And of course we are, and definitely we're going to get to the point where we can make this the go-to for any teacher in the OECS. The important thing is that the curriculum that we've developed is embedded in all of this. So it doesn't mean teacher have to go and find the curriculum somewhere, print it, and then use that curriculum to try and develop a lesson plan or create activities. Everything is fed by the curriculum, so it's a one-stop for teachers. And very importantly, because it's developed within the OECS, by OECS developers, it means that we can tweak, we can make changes, we can improve based on teacher feedback.
A 2-day high-level workshop on competition policy and law enforcement commenced today at the OECS Commission. The workshop aims to foster collaboration in addressing critical issues related to competition enforcement, share best practices, and explore strategies that the Commission hopes to implement for enforcing an effective competition policy. Joel Richards, officer in charge of the Economic Affairs and Regional Integration Division at the OECS Commission, delivered the opening remarks at the workshop virtually. He noted that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of several stops on the capacity building workshop tour on competition policy across OECS member states. Richards emphasized that in the current geopolitical environment, closer integration of member states is imperative. He highlighted that the Commission is focused on pursuing deeper levels of integration, particularly through existing mandates such as competition policy, the free movement of goods, and the implementation of a customs union across the OECS. This also includes the free movement of persons and completing that regime by introducing relevant policies.
So there's a lot that we are doing at the OECS in terms of cementing our regional integration project, and there is a renewed sense of urgency that we must now assume in light of some of the external developments that we are privy to. Now, specific to the issue of competition policy, one of the fundamental premises on which we are pursuing this work is out of a recognition that anti-competitive conduct is a barrier to development, especially for small island developing states where the majority of our enterprises are micro, small, and medium enterprises. And it therefore means that for these types of enterprises to thrive, especially in a context where we do have big firms operating in our space, we do have firms which may have certain monopolistic tendencies. And so in order to create a less fragmented and a more competitive market space, it is very important for us to do the work that we are now doing with respect to competition policy. I have to also recognize that we have various treaty commitments as well as member states of both the OECS, that being the revised Treaty of Basseterre, but also as CARICOM member states as well through the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. And so what we are doing here this week in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what we've been doing in other member states and we have a few member states lined up as well to carry on this work, is really in response to those treaty obligations that we have.
Richards added that the objective of the workshop is to build capacity across member states to enable them to implement the relevant legislative and policy frameworks at the national level.
And again, we have to recognize that many of our member states still lack national competition laws and competent regulatory authorities to enforce competition laws. So even if the modality might be shifting somewhat, the imperative to do what we're doing remains the same nonetheless. And also in the absence of the frameworks that I've already mentioned, we are certainly a lot more vulnerable to anti-competitive practice across our economic union space. And here I'm referring to the monopolistic behavior that would tend to arise in circumstances where the legal and policy frameworks are not in place or where they are underdeveloped, and even instances where we have to address issues such as price fixing in certain sectors and industries. And so with the support of the CARICOM Competition Commission, and we're very grateful for this collaboration, and it's really a sort of an example of how across the region we need to be working, whether it be at the CARICOM level, OECS, or intra-CARICOM and OECS. This collaboration is very much representative of how we need to work, and we're very appreciative of the support of the CARICOM Competition Commission in what we're doing here today. But we are also indebted as well to the European Union through the 11th European Development Fund. And so without the support of the EU and without the support of the CCC, we would not be able to do what we're doing here today. And this is really a capacity building exercise. And as I said before, even though there's an individual focus now in terms of what we are rolling out across our member states, the need to do what we're doing in a very coordinated fashion, it's actually very, very important that we do that because we certainly want to ensure that we are not creating any sort of space for market fragmentation and for regulatory gaps to persist.
The Executive Director of the CARICOM Competition Commission, Nivea Ramsudar, stated that the workshop is not just about compliance with the treaty, but also ensuring that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has a marketplace that is protected, functional, and effective.
And that marketplace fits into the broader OECS market and the CARICOM market as one single market and economy. We made a lot of promises in the days when we were doing the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas and Bastille, and we fell short on those promises. And we are seeing those repercussions. We are seeing our national economies erode. We are seeing a lot of external presences to our individual member states, but also we are seeing certain strengths and powers within the private sector forming, for want of a better term. My economist, of course, might scold me for using the term, but for forming monopolies or oligopolies where they control certain sectors of the market. How do we protect our consumers? How do we protect our choice? Is it just by focusing on consumer legislation? No. It's two things. It's consumer legislation and competition legislation, because they are two sides of the same coin. Consumer legislation gives you the soft tools that helps you deal with those who are providing the demand for something. Competition law gives you the tools to help you govern the supply of that thing. There are two ways of doing it. You can focus on regulation only, but that fails. You need to have the two in your toolkit. So why we are here, it's because Shakiri and the team at the OECS, through their DG, allowed me the opportunity to get into the Trade Council meeting of the OECS itself in 2023. And two things came out of that. Through the Trade Council, the OECS heads agreed to adopt the competition policy that happens in the Chaguaramas Treaty as the common policy within the Bastille Treaty. So it paved the way for there to just be one regional body. So member states don't have to find money to fund two regional bodies and many different regional bodies. You're just focusing on one market, because the OECS member states are also the member states of the CARICOM and the CSME. The second thing is that at that broad level, the agreement was reached that CCC and OECS can cooperate to have this particular initiative transpire.
The workshops, which began in June last year in St. Lucia, aim to sensitize and train relevant stakeholders to develop key elements for building and implementing an action plan. The goal is to reach a point where a piece of legislation can be introduced to empower member states to protect their markets effectively. In other local news now, we hear that last Friday, February 27, 2025, 25 new prison officers graduated and have been stationed at the two prisons, namely His Majesty's prisons in Kingston and the Bilal Correctional Facility. Addressing the prison officers on their roles and responsibilities, Attorney General Grenville Williams stated that as part of proper rehabilitation and reintegration of prisoners into society, he would like to see a fund established for them from their labor during incarceration.
One of the things that I would like to see is that there's a program in the prison where when work is done, the prisoners earn an income, and that income is placed in a fund, an escrow fund. It's not given to them in prison, but when they leave, they could have a few dollars in their pockets. Because I'm certain all of you would recognize, yes, we may get paid once per month. But if you don't have money in your pocket, that creates a lot of tension. That creates a lot of strife. And potentially, that could lead someone who's on the outside now to commit an offense because they too need to live. If we have a program of that nature, when they are being released, we could release them with a few dollars in their pocket to give them a good start.
The Attorney General said that based on his interactions with the prison inmates, it was revealed that they face difficulties in living normal lives due to their circumstances.
Last occasion I was there, a lot of the prisoners spoke about the fact that there is no halfway house. Some of them have no relatives, or their relatives not interested. They have no house to go to. You can release them, but they're going on the street. If we have a halfway house, then maybe that could afford them a window of opportunity for transition and make it easier for them to reintegrate and assimilate into society. And why do I say all of this to you as prison officers? Because, again, you are not just there to keep the prison safe. You are keeping all of society safe. And one of the ways we do that is by ensuring that when prisoners return to the outside, return to society, they are better equipped to be part of the society.
In addition to the rehabilitation of prison inmates, the Attorney General emphasized the need for improved educational programs in the prisons. Newly trained prison officer Roshani Rogers received 3 awards at the end of a 6-week training program by His Majesty's prisons. These awards were for Most Outstanding Prison Officer, Best at Drills, and the Superintendent of Prisons Award. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Rogers said that the training was a bit challenging, but well worth it. He remained focused throughout and hopes to make a positive difference at the institution.
For me, at the beginning, I felt that it wasn't coming to an end and it was very challenging. But sure, despite it all, I said I came here to make prison as a career and I want to stay, no matter how hard it is. Nothing in life comes easy. So I pushed until I made it to the end. In the class, every class we had, whether it was prison subjects or other subjects, it was very, very good for each and every one of us because it enlightened us more about what we are expected and what more we are to do. So it's not okay just go to work every day and collect a salary. No, it's more than that. And we appreciate the opportunity to get our eyes open on more what we are expected to do.
A young prison officer who was previously employed as a security guard said that he is excited for his future in policing.
It was from since I was younger. I always said I wanted to be in either prisons or police. So when the opportunity came and I heard prisons are recruiting, I decided to send in an application and I got accepted. And so I made, from then I said, okay, I got through and it's time to make this as a career. Keep pushing forward, keep performing even much more better than I am now to reach to the goal that I always wanted, either a corporal or a SP.
At the start of the program in January, 27 officers were accepted for the training. 2 dropped out of the program. And in the program, 4 females successfully completed the training. One of them is Winisha Simmons. As part of the training, the officers woke up at 4 a.m. every morning for a march past and drills. In addition to the physical training, there was also a theoretical component with 30 topics. Simmons said she is proud of herself for overcoming challenges and she received support from her peers and trainers.
My experience in the training school as a female was a bit daunting. Despite that, I have my fellow colleagues who I can rely on. They had my back because whenever I was given a task, I apply teamwork. I ensure that I ask them questions and they will come together and we will assist one another. Also, I would like to thank my instructors. They were always there for me, pushing me and motivating me. They saw something inside of me and said that Simmons has a capability of going forward. So ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I believe that despite that the inmates who are behind bars, they still have the capability of pushing themselves forward to become someone better in society, because while behind bars they can develop skills, because that is why we have rehabilitation. Yeah. Before the training school started, we were sent to His Majesty's prison, so we had an understanding before the training school. So now that we are here, it's like it expanded and elevated us more to understand. So while in class, it taught us how to be more professional, how to handle an inmate while being escorted off of the compound, the proper procedure.
The new Officers are now fully on the job after completing the 6-week training. Here that former Member of Parliament for South Central Windward, Alan Cruickshank, passed away on Saturday, March 1st, 2025 at the age of 73. Cruickshank served as the MP for South Central Windward from 1984 to 2001 under the then New Democratic Party NDP administration. In a statement, the NDP expressed its deep sadness at the passing of the beloved party stalwart who was a towering figure in the political landscape of the nation. The party said Cruickshank dedicated his life to public service and left an indelible mark on the people of South Central Windward and the entire nation. According to the NDP, Cruickshank's tireless efforts in nation building and his unwavering commitment to the people of South Central Windward will forever be remembered as a testament to his selfless service. The NDP thanked his family for sharing him with the nation and concluded its statement by saying that his contributions to the party and the country will never be forgotten. In commemoration of World Wheelchair Day, which was observed on Friday, February 28, 2025, the National Society of Persons with Disabilities held its 8th annual celebration event today under the theme Accessibility and Inclusion. The event took the form of a walk from Heritage Square to Victoria Park, where a brief address was delivered to attendees. The walk, which aimed to raise awareness of the challenges faced by wheelchair users, was an opportunity for individuals to unite in the fight for greater accessibility and inclusion. Shaquania Stapleton shared her personal experience with the audience. She emphasized that wheelchair users still face significant barriers when it comes to productivity. She noted that one of the most crucial aspects of creating a truly inclusive society is ensuring that wheelchair users are considered in building designs.
We are still very limited in the things that we're able to do and the opportunities that we're able to access. So, unfortunately, our sidewalks and roads, buildings, all of these things have been hindrances to a lot of us who try to go about our daily lives. And so I feel that it is important to spread awareness to these issues, as we all want to be productive members of society and we all have very important things to offer. And so I believe that if everyone is able to see that wheelchair users have the right to access and to be able to utilize services, whether it is for recreation or for going about existing in our daily lives, we were able to have a positive change and an impact so that in future persons will be mindful when they make events or buildings, so that we also have the opportunity to access. Even for employment, it is very important that we make these spaces accessible and available, because you never know, at any moment someone may need to use a wheelchair. It doesn't have to be permanently, even if it's temporary. It is important that we are inclusive all the time.
In addition, Karen Joseph Nero, a caseworker at the Ministry of National Mobilization, said the ministry is taking important steps towards supporting persons with disabilities. She said that currently they are putting together a disability registry to better understand the needs of community members with disabilities, as well as empowerment program so that persons with disabilities can lead fulfilling and independent lives.
Within the Ministry of National Mobilization, we offer services for persons who have disabilities. In 2025, the ministry will be conducting a disability registry for persons throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines as one of our initiatives. And we will be starting our empowerment program to empower persons who are suffering with disabilities. We want to let you know that you can always reach out to us at the Ministry of National Mobilization. Our office is located opposite the Kingstown Post Office, and you feel free to contact us.